Now we're going to actually go into some things just to keep in mind, and some of this stuff is refreshers of what we've already gone over, and other stuff is additional. So just keep that in mind, and these are things just to not let your group lose sight of going forward with this functionality if you'd like to put it in place. On the finance side, the things you need to keep in mind is that based on the fact that the requirement is to complete invoicing and revenue recognition after a sales order shipment is completed, respective of a customer acknowledging and or accepting it, you need to make sure that on the financial side of the fence, you understand that revenue contingencies cannot be assigned to transaction lines that have deferred accounting rules. The other thing that we went over is that the revenue contingencies, i.e. deferral reasons, acceptance names, and their event attributes, they can be set up in AR revenue management, but they're completely enforced and invoked in order management. That's why the order management setup is so explicitly and critically tied to this functionality being executable. Now we go into the so explicitly tied and critical to being executed. Remember, if you do not enable the fulfillment acceptance via the OM system parameter, changing it from the default of no to Y or yes for every operating unit you need to complete this functionality in, nothing will happen. It doesn't matter if you define revenue contingencies, it doesn't matter if you defined assignment rules. If you do not set up the enable fulfillment, the AR API will never be called from order management to invoke the assignment rules or validate the customer acceptance functionality to actually process through the system. Just some things that we didn't really topically go over that deeply, if at all. We kind of skim by in terms of the basic function. On order management, once the system applies the revenue contingency in terms of the acceptance name, so once that defaults into your sales order line based on the AR API being called, it will remain applied until the user changes it. So the reason this is key is some situations our data pieces can actually be updated if they're updated in terms of where they're set up, versus other data pieces take the initial value from when they were committed to the line until that actual line is changed. The revenue contingencies will default as originally committed. So if you change something on the AR side in terms of originally it was going to expire in 7 days and now you're going to change it to 21 days for this customer, the 21 days will not redefault. You'll need to manually change that if you want that to take effect for that transaction. The other thing to know is this functionality is applicable for many inventory item types: standard, services, the ATO and PTO models, the PTO kits. The thing to know in terms of the items that have bill of materials attached to them is the contingency attributes and definitions actually reside at the parent level, and then all the children levels inherit those attributes and process as a result of the parent. So standard bill of material functionality in most cases, everything blows down into the child lines. As we stated before, you need to make sure your fulfillment acceptance attributes are added to your appropriate responsibility menus. This current release of Oracle only accepts full acceptance or rejection. There's no partial quantities. And currently, when I covered most of my examples, I kept referring to or falling back on the ship confirm date as an event attribute. That's because that's the only one that's actually supported for the current release of this functionality. In the revenue contingency definition form, you'll see additional attributes. I think there's 3 other ones. One is proof of delivery. Those other attributes are not functioning at this point. And proof of delivery is one in there that currently is not functioning, and from what I understand, they have no intention on making it function because it will not be used with the transportation module. So that potentially will get pulled, and I'm guessing in a future release. Respective of things that data fields that look like they could be used for acceptance that were previously there that looks like they might be enhanced to work with acceptance, the Earliest and latest acceptable date values, those were previously used for scheduling in order management, and currently they are still only used for scheduling. They have no way, shape, or form any functionality tied to the acceptance attributes or processes. The other thing to know is that for order management, customer acceptance has nothing to do with returns, internal orders, or retro bill orders at all. Completely outbound, nothing inbound. Okay, in summary, again, we're going to go over probably like 6 or 7 things that were probably, again, in the considerations, but just to keep in mind. The contingency definition, i.e. deferral reason, and the related event attributes are set up in AR revenue management, but the functionality is called in order management via the AR API. And again, completely dependent on additional setups, the enabling of fulfillment acceptance and order management. The ability to add columns to folders allows users to actually see the acceptance data details within the sales order lines, within the forms and the organizer. Pre-billing deferral is tied to invoicing and defers both invoicing and revenue recognition. Post-billing is tied to customer acceptance and defers only the revenue recognition. The revenue is held in an unearned revenue account and then reassigned once acceptance is completed. Your 2 forms of acceptance are implicit and explicit, and they're both supported with standard functionality, although some additional setups are required. Thank you for listening to this presentation provided by DART Corporation on how to defer your invoicing and or revenue recognition for customer acceptance based on order management and revenue receivables setups. I'm Michelle Taylor, and if you have any further questions or comments concerning this topic, you can contact us on our website at www.dark.com, or you can contact our sales team at sales@dark.com for email. And then if you have any phone information or inquiries you'd like to make, our number that you can call us at is 877-476-7151. Again, our phone number is 877-476-7151. Thank you very much.